Hello, Gemini, and welcome to your reading for the weeks of November 5th through the 18th, 2024. This is a reading if you're a Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, Gemini Rising, or have another significant Gemini placement in your chart. If you're new to this channel, welcome. It's good to have you, and if you're returning, welcome back. If you want to know more about my services, including readings, coaching, channeling, astrology, life path readings, etc., classes that I'm going to offer, please check the description box below for a link to my website and also my social media. I am mainly on Instagram, and I do a daily live stream there. So if you want to check any of that out, that's there. I do upload those videos to this channel as well from my daily live streams, as well as any channeling videos that I've done, and some other things here and there that are connected to my coaching work. So with that out of the way, let's get straight into your reading, Gemini. Okay, this is really interesting because I'm also thinking about your reading with respect to what I saw for Aries Taurus this same time period. Is we're definitely in a transitional period astrologically, and I feel like everybody is experiencing that transition or the limitations of that transition in a different place. And weirdly, yours is right at the center of the reading. I mean, this is where Seth is. This is where there's a Seth is Scorpio energy, so this is that kind of change. But it also can bring obstacles. Seth is the Stormbringer in Egyptian myth. And whenever we draw Seth, we always draw him with a second card. So this is Capricorn energy. This is Ta. So this is centered around work. It's centered around our ideas about work, our ideas about hard work, effort, productivity, building, the masculine, okay? This seems to be kind of an overall... It seems to be touching every area of your life. So the fact that it's here in the center suggests to me that that this seems to be kind of an influence that has been problematic for you in recent history and maybe this month. Yeah, you have the Seven of Swords and the Five of Wands with it. They both fell out together, so I put them both here. And this is definitely about conflict, about feeling like you're in competition with others, struggling. What do you want versus what other people are trying to push you towards? And Seven of Swords suggests people with ulterior motives. So there's a real necessity here for you to figure out who you are and where you're going, and not letting other people, because other people, there's just something going on here that you're not seeing. And there could be, sometimes there's even an element of sabotage when it shows up in this way with the Seven of Swords. Now, I don't want to make people paranoid that there's some individual out there trying to sabotage you. Sometimes the saboteur is ourselves. Sometimes we are the ones who end up sabotaging ourselves. So yeah, there's a excuse me. I always think it's interesting if a cough comes up in the middle of talking about a particular thing. But yeah, there's definitely a need for you to, it seems particularly masculine energy is something that you need to detach from here, or masculine expectations. And you don't have to necessarily be a woman to have that interpretation here. Sometimes, men too can be victims of the masculine, in the way that there may be just certain attitudes and things that are very hard to see past as we're trying to move forward. And this may be, given all of the kind of upheaval that's in the collective right now. And Seven of Swords also seems to imply, especially since you're Gemini, it has to do with communication, that there's certain things that perhaps you can't trust right now. Like you need to be careful. Now, Mercury is going to go retrograde this month. So, and I think not during the period of this reading, it's going to be after that, but the pre-shadow period is going to be starting mid-month. So there's definitely been a strong vibe here of be careful of believing what you see, be careful of just simply accepting the old way of doing things. And when I think of the masculine, I think of the rational, I think of the action-oriented, that has to do with building. And, and those are all positive qualities. Ta is all the positive qualities of the masculine, but there may be certain values there that maybe, certain aspects of that, like everything that we think of as having a positive value can also potentially have a negative value in a certain situation. So we may need to be looking at areas where maybe we're overly concerned about stability, or not changing something, or only dealing with what I see exactly right in front of me. Because there may be, that may not be, what you see in front of you may not be what you get. And there may be these kinds of other influences right now. They say the internal reflects the external, or that the two of them, maybe there's not that much of a differentiation. But it does feel like we need to be careful about what the external is bringing right now. Now, yeah, in your first house, though, you have Osiris. So you do have a judgment that you can trust. When Osiris shows up in the first house, this is strong Sagittarius energy. It's very gregarious. It's very outgoing, but it's also just a quality of leadership, of knowing who you are, not letting other people tell you who you are. And you have it with this Eight of Wands. So this represents a swiftness and opening up. Like there is very fast movement coming into your chart here, Gemini. And what's interesting is directly across in the 7th house of Libra, you have the twins here. So for some of you, if you're not in a relationship, this usually indicates a partnership, okay? So now, again, depending on where you're at. Now, some people, maybe if you're looking for love, then this could mean connecting with somebody who might be a long-term partner. But this could also have to do with business relationships. This could have to do with contracts. There's other things that this could have to do with. If you have a spouse, this could have to do with connecting with your spouse. But you have it with the Knight of Wands. And I think that's interesting because the house opposite, you have the Eight of Wands, and they have a very similar fast-moving energy. Because the Knight of Wands seems to indicate something that's coming in very quickly. It can also indicate somebody perhaps who is very, very restless. And Knight of Wands can also, like there's movement here. And I don't know, like I have a feeling just looking at some of the other houses that surround it, like the 5th house, which is the Leo house. And the Leo house has to do with, again, if you're looking for love, this has to do with love affairs. But we have Bast with the 3 of Pentacles. This actually feels more creative to me. This feels like Bast has strong artistic vibes, and it's in the house of creativity. Now, this could mean a creative partner, okay? And with the 3 of Pentacles, there's the sense of working with somebody creatively here. 3 of Pentacles is about being recognized for your work and a collaboration. So, I mean, there is the possibility here that maybe there is somebody who you work or collaborate with on something, or maybe on some creative project that may lead to a more serious relationship. And I have a feeling this may come in very suddenly, or for some of you, this may even involve travel somewhere, because the Knight of Wands is about movement. Now, often Knight of Wands in a relationship house, people will say, oh, well, that's the player card. That's the person comes in who is, who wants to be there but doesn't want to be committed. But it's in the house of commitment. So I don't know. Maybe it's somebody who's come across, but I feel more like, given this energy, this could be somebody that you're working with, whether this is literally at a job or whether this is on some creative venture. It does feel like there is going to be a partnering with somebody, and that this is going to come in very fast for some of you. And those of you who are already in a relationship, I don't know. I feel like with regard to your partner, there may be messages. There's things that just seem to be happening very fast. Like there's fast movement and you are trying to keep up. And this is about you, and this is about a partner or a prospective partner. Again, whether that's a romantic partnership or whether it is something that is more of a business type nature. Now, if you look at your financial house, okay, 4 of Chalices with Sphinx. Okay, again, there's this card of secrecy here. And 4 of Chalices indicates don't miss an opportunity. When this card comes up, there's opportunities financially that you don't want to miss. And Sphinx seems to indicate this sense of sitting back and waiting. And I almost feel the phrase coming into my head is, what are you waiting for? Like there's something here to be reached for. And maybe that's why I'm seeing this like active move kind of energy. It's almost like, what are you waiting for? There's something here that is being held out to you, but you're kind of standing back and saying, I don't know if I want to approach this right now. Now, to be totally fair, with this kind of energy in the center that says, maybe things are not trustworthy, the fact that it's the 4 of Chalices, though, showing up with the Sphinx and not another card of agendas and deception and things like that, I do feel like there's a legitimate opportunity that for whatever reason you're not acting on. So, or somebody's not acting on it. Yeah, so I don't know. So whatever's going on for you financially, there does seem to be something where there has been this sense of either sitting back, hanging back. Sphinx is a card of secrecy, but more often it's a card of inaction. And to have it with this card, yeah, I just feel like there's some opportunity that you're not acting on. So take that as it resonates for you. And I don't know, it's really funny. When this card shows up and in my readings, I'm often like, what opportunity? What are you talking about? Because sometimes it's just not even obvious to us. But yeah, let's look at your job houses and so forth, job, career. because that, that's often the place where we get money. And also your own house of Gemini. Actually, I think that's where I want to start rather than here. Because this can be like if you're in your own business or, doing your own thing, whatever your self-effort here is part of this house. And of course, obviously, this is your own energy, Gemini energy, communication, messages, speaking. And we have Isis with Temperance. Okay, so Temperance, there's definitely this, okay, this is strong feminine energy. This is about compassion and flow. For some people, this literally could be mother energy. But we have it with Temperance here. And Temperance is about the blending of opposites. Fire and water coming together, weaving something together. So I feel like you are at a point where you are trying to integrate different things, different lessons. There's something, Isis indicates the patience, but it's more perseverance. Perseverance, like, okay, I'm going to patiently go through this step by step kind of a thing. And this blending of fire and water reminds me kind of the Mars and Cancer energy right now. It's like the idea of it's time for us to kind of, there's a lot going on in the collective about the merging of opposites, about masculine and feminine coming together, about it working together. And I feel like this is about you're having a lot of messages about integration, about how things are going to fall into place. Temperance does have to do with, things falling into place. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's something maybe that you need to be patient with, that you need to persevere with, and you need to have patience for. I kind of feel like patience is part of it, because it does seem like there's an integration process going on. Like there's something that will come that will bring peace. Okay. You also might be doing some negotiating lately. Maybe you are, because you are a communicative sign, you may be having to try to take paradoxical things and figure out how they're going to fit together in some way when we have Temperance. But I feel like there's this sense of being a peacekeeper or peacemaker. Isis has a kind of very strong nurturing energy with that. So I don't know, take that as it resonates, but this could have to do with your career and your work. This could also have to do with a sibling relationship for some of you, if you have brothers and sisters. And this can also potentially have to do with, like I said, with just with messages you're receiving lately. Maybe you feel like you've had to be the peacekeeper lately, or maybe you feel like you have, there's this idea of having an open heart in communications, okay? And if we look at your home sector, you have the Tower with Sirius, okay? So the Tower here, this can indicate kind of an upset or a shakeup, either regarding home or regarding family, okay? Could be both. And with Sirius, there's a sense of having to put an effort into something. There's a need to think differently or to do something differently. And this seems to be centered around the home. So yeah, the Tower often brings things that are unexpected and are sudden. There's a lot of sudden energy in this reading. So I feel like there's just stuff that's going to be coming up and happening very, very suddenly. Again, maybe things you've not been aware of. And even Sphinx over here can apply some secrecy. So again, whether this has to do with a family situation or whether this has to physically do with your home or where you live, like if you're somebody who's thinking of moving or something like that, there could be some very, very sudden news coming in. And Sirius here, there's a need to think outside the box a little bit. There's a lot here about thinking on your feet. That's a definite thing that I'm seeing here. You're going to be kind of thinking on your feet about stuff. And there's a sense that you need to look for opportunities, maybe, getting out of this mode of trying to look at things the same old way. There's a new way to start looking at things, and you don't want to let other people on the outside complicate this, and you want to be aware that maybe you don't have all the information, or that it's going to come in an indirect kind of a way. Seven of Swords can also be about negotiation. So, and we're seeing that with Temperance here too. So I don't know. There's a lot that you're negotiating right now because certain things are going to be changing very fast. Okay, let's go back to the job house, which is the 6th house of Virgo, which has to do with your work and your routine, can have to do with your health. Now you have Hathor with the Emperor. So for some of you, okay, you feel like you may be taking charge of your health. You may be trying to eat in a more healthy way. When Hathor comes up, it often has to do with changing eating or dietary habits. Hathor, though, also, it's just another strongly feminine. It's interesting, we have that strong Isis energy here. Now we have this Hathor energy. This is about getting organized, getting things together, getting things cleaned up, clearing out the past. figuring everything out, getting, dotting your I's and crossing your T's, as they say. You're going to, this is about, getting into, this is a very strong Virgo energy in the Virgo house. So not only are you focused on good health and diet and things like that, but this is an energy also of organization. And when you have it with the Emperor, I mean, the Emperor is this idea of control. So this is Aries energy. Again, active, a lot of fire here in your chart. In your in your chart, well, maybe in your chart, in your reading, there's definitely this sense that there is, you have Aries energy, we have Sagittarius energy, we have the Wands energy, which is all fire. There's quite a bit, and you've got the King of Wands up here. We haven't even gotten there yet. And overall, you've got this kind of fire of outside competition. So there's quite a lot that seems to be going on. Like there's a flame that's lit with something here. So you're kind of being told to, get in control of, like I said, if eating habits are a problem, getting that sorted out. This is about good health. This is about organization. It really, it bolsters all of the aspects of Virgo here. It brings that feminine energy into it once again. Now, in terms of work, this could have to do with a female at work. That could be true for some people, or a female figure, or just even getting organized at work. But with the Emperor, there's a sense of you needing to take control of something. It could be boss energy, like when the Emperor comes up, this could have to do with a female boss or something like that. For some of you, maybe that's going to be a very specific message. But I feel like this is almost like, no, you need to take charge of, not only, like I mentioned, your health and other things, but you need to take charge of your work life too. There's something here where you can either take charge. Emperor can even mean just having a position of authority as well. And if I look up here, because if I look at your 10th house, you've got Crook and Flail. So Crook and Flail, for some people, that can literally mean a promotion, okay? Because this is a raise in status in the house of status, okay? But you have it with Haven. So Haven is a card. This is not an actual tarot card in most decks. It just happens to be in this deck. And Haven is that card that's between the World and the Fool. So it's between the ending and the beginning. Like you're in this in-between place right now. So at the moment, maybe that's why we even have Sphinx here. Like there's an opportunity, and right now, though, you feel like there's a waiting game. Something's ended, but you're not sure what the new beginning is looking like yet. So there's kind of this in-between. But there's this sense of moving up. So I don't know. Some of you may be moving into managerial positions. Some of you may just be taking charge of your own thing. There's definitely a sense of recognition and authority wherever this shows up. And being it's in the house that's connected to that, I feel like it's going to be your time to shine in something. Okay, but right now it's telling you to get organized. I feel like you need to finish old business and get ready to move on. But again, with the Four of Chalices here, I feel like there's something where maybe there's an opportunity or one that's going to be coming up that you might be going, I don't know. And this is saying don't bypass an opportunity. It's a card of dissatisfaction. So there may be some little thing about it where we might be tempted to stay where we are. And it's like, no, it's time for you to make a move and do something very action oriented, like I said here. Okay. Let's go to your 9th house of Jupiter energy and expansion of your horizons. Okay, now you've got Earth here. You've got 8 of Chalices and Earth. So 8 of Chalices is walking away from something, something that maybe has sustained you for a long time. And so this is about you expanding your horizons. Now, this could be taking a long trip or a journey somewhere. This could have to do with getting more education, or maybe you're even going to be working in education in some cases, or going back to school. That could be a thing. This could be money that's spent on education. Could also be a spiritual thing as well, because the 9th house has to do with faith and spirituality of all types. It doesn't just have to be traditional. And I don't know, this could be, where Earth shows up is sometimes where our financial opportunities might be. So there may be money that might be to be earned, it's spent and or earned by maybe doing something that's going to require new training, or perhaps for some people taking on another degree or going back to school or something. Or maybe you're working in the area of spirituality, who knows, or education. But whatever it is, there's definitely a sense of walking away from something. There's something you've been doing, and I feel like now you're kind of planting the seeds of stepping into your own. But yeah, I think where you're trying to expand your horizons, you're looking for this really speaks to me of finding a new way to establish security, and perhaps also a new relationship to money as well, because Earth has to do with the proper relationship to the material world. And the fact that it's showing up, it's not generally a card of movement, okay? Like, I don't necessarily see this as a card of traveling far away or moving far away. But when Earth is here, because this is more of a rooted card rather than one that shows movement, but the Eight of Chalices is definitely a card of walking away. And I feel like there's something that may have started with the eclipses that we had. We had eclipses in March and April, and then we just had eclipses at the end of September and beginning of October. And something about this eclipse energy may be what's propelling you forward here and propelling you away from an old way of doing things. But I feel like, yeah, there's definitely this expansion here of your horizons and of how you're doing things. Now, let's look at your Aquarius house, which has to do with your friendships and also what you're trying to manifest. Okay, you have Lotus with the Queen of Chalices. So again, there's this sense, there's a lot of, okay, we have Sphinx, we have Earth, we have Lotus. So this is about, again, there's a lot about trying to find your footing here. Now with the Tower down here, I mean, that kind of makes sense. If things have been kind of shaken up, you're like, okay, you're trying to find your footing in something. And with the Queen of Chalices here, again, you've got three places where you've got this strong mother energy. So I don't know if this is a friend or somebody in your life who's going to act in this role, this Queen of Chalices role. This could be a person who's a water sign, which would be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. Pisces could be one of those. Excuse me. But this Queen of Chalices can also be about finding where your heart is. Again, in terms of your friendships, maybe there's been some anxiety about friendships. It is one thing I've noticed with clients and with different people, even with myself, that sometimes there's this worry that about whether or not, about how our friends feel about us, right? That whether or not a certain relationship is really, if there's something going on that's unseen, whether someone is ghosting us or whether we said something and they took it the wrong way. Like there can be sometimes an energy of that here. And this would be saying, don't worry about that. There's definitely a lot of heart here. So I would certainly say that your friends can certainly supply a lot of emotional support too, or you may be finding this in your network somewhere. Like that's where your peace might come from. Maybe rather, especially if there's like a messed up family situation here. Maybe there's a family situation in which you are expected to be the negotiator. Maybe somebody's mother's involved because we have Isis here. So that's entirely a possibility. But there seems to be this much more strong feminine energy. Like you're fiery and kind of ready to go. But it's almost like telling you want to integrate that feminine energy here. And that is definitely a collective thing that's going on. So I think it's saying, as you move forward and make your plans, make sure you know where your heart is. But you are being called to leadership of some type. Now, if I look at the 8th house of transformation, okay, we have air with the King of Wands. Now, when air shows up, this is like Spirit is trying to communicate with you. There's something, there is definite, again, fast movement and change. Now, you are an air sign, okay, but this has to do with communications. We see this 8 of Wands, Knight of Wands. It's like fast-moving communications, things happening quickly. Getting things organized, maybe having to speak up for yourself on something. But I also feel like in this is a transformational house, I feel like we are getting messages. Like someone's trying to show us how to make this integration. It may be a strong feminine energy that's trying to come through and sort of speak to you, although we do have it with the King of Wands, which is, again, this strong, fiery, determined energy that says, the King of Wands gets what he wants. Okay, the King of Wands is sets out to have an objective and a focus and says, we're going for it, we're going to do it. So I don't know. This could also be somebody who's guiding you in how to do that and how to successfully manifest what it is that you want. But it definitely feels like you have some kind of help here. So maybe that may be another reason why it's important for you to pay attention to your intuition right now, because there's this strong fiery energy of moving ahead. It's interesting. That's a masculine energy, but we also have it, with a lot of this feminine energy too. Like I said, a lot of what's going on right now is about balancing masculine and feminine. Okay, in the 12th house of Pisces, you have 5 of Chalices with winged disc. Okay, so this is the house of liberation, but also potentially of self-undoing. But with winged disc here, there definitely seems to be a liberation here. And with the 5 of Chalices, this feels like a letting go of the past, a liberation from the past. See the person dropping these cups into the water. Letting go, having an emotional release. deciding what needs to go. Now, obviously, with temperance here, we don't necessarily have to let everything go. Sometimes there's certain experiences that we want to, find a place for, or find a way to integrate them. But part of where you might be stuck might be because, or where you might be doubting yourself, is because you may have a hard time letting go of past experiences right now. But winged disc definitely seems to indicate a clarity coming in, being able to rise above, and being able to be successful in overcoming obstacles. Now, right now, maybe you're feeling like you can't do that. Okay, maybe that's why it's showing up in the 12th house of doubt. But with the 5 of chalices, it's saying, no, these are just old attitudes that you need to let go of. Now, let's see. Have I missed anything in this reading? I don't think so. So let's see what the Moonology cards have for you, Gemini. Okay, so Gemini. What does Gemini need to know November 5th through 18th, 2024? And what's the card I get? Communication is key. New moon in Gemini. And it's funny. It's what I was thinking of with this 8th house card here. Okay, so I'm going to read to you what it says in the book here, because I think a lot of times when people use these cards on YouTube and stuff, I notice that they don't really do that. They just try to go with but I think there's always more to it. A successful relationship comes down to one thing: communication. And the new moon in Gemini is about the start of a new cycle for communicating with the person at the center of your question, or just communicating in general. Talking things through is the answer to whatever you're asking about. If you can't talk to a person, you can journal about it to yourself. Emails, text messages, and all other forms of communication will also help you now. If the issue you're asking about concerns a sibling or neighbor, hence the 3rd house energy, there's a new start coming and time to wipe the slate clean and start over. This card could also suggest maybe you've been frivolous and need to get grounded again. Most importantly, drawing this card emphasizes the need to communicate. Okay, so communication is your thing, Gemini. And yeah, you may be called upon to do a lot more with communication. And I have a feeling it's like you may be playing either a peacemaker role, or there's just something here about mediation in some way, like that's coming in here. But you as a communicator in this time is very, very important. So make sure you're not sabotaging yourself. Make sure you're not looking to old ideas about things. I don't know. I feel for some of you, this may also have to do with your career. Like maybe you are stepping up and taking a role as a communicator or mediator. That just kind of popped in my head. But yeah, with the 7 of Swords here, I think that, we want to make sure we're not following other people's agendas, that we are not letting outside distractions distract us from what we need to do, and that we're not hanging on to those old Capricornian values in the sense of the negative sense of Capricorn, which has to do with the way a lot of times it's more about greed or about ideas about control that are really outdated in this world. So anyway, I'm making this a very long reading, so I hope this is helpful, Gemini. If you did like this reading, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified about future videos, and leave me a comment if you choose. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.